The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Straight ahead this evening, all eyes on Mackey Street at F&M headquarters. That is where the nation gets to see the F&M's latest batch of candidates. We take you live to F&M headquarters tonight. Also, a party executive joins me to talk about those who are getting the official nod. In fact, they've already had them. I'm sure you've seen the photos already, but no less, we will talk about that. And while that's happening, I think behind the headquarters or somewhere on the grounds, Andrew Blue Johnson, one of the F&M's hopefuls in Freetown, is on the outside of the headquarters with supporters in tow. TP, as he promised that he would be. Can you roll, please? Can you roll the TP? The supporters have been making their support of Johnson known since the start of this evening's candidate launch. We talk about that as well. And later tonight, Eleuthera's tourism boom. It's all coming up for you. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, the Free National Movement is rolling out its second batch of candidates. In fact, it's happened already. There are a total of 7 of them. It happened at F&M headquarters, and there was a whole lot of other things happening as well. Eyewitness News understands that the candidates are being ratified, and there are about some 7 of them, all eyeing 7 various constituencies right here in the capital. We understand that one of the candidates served before on the minister-led administration, while the remaining majority are women, set to represent some key areas. We go live to F&M headquarters with Jose Etienne. Jose, good evening to you. It's good to have you here. It seems now that the 7 are known. They're out on stage. This, I guess, a mini rally is now underway. What is the response at headquarters like?
Well, Shanique, I'm still here at the Free National Movement's headquarters on Market Street. I'm not even sure if you're able to hear me. I'm competing with loud music here as a wave of exhilaration. A crescendo of excitement is sweeping through the entire space as the F&M is unveiling its second grouping of candidates. So far, they just unveiled Dinari Rolle, who is now being tipped as the F&M's candidate for the Session Shores constituency. That's an area currently held by the Member of Parliament, who's also a pastor, Leroy Major. And of course, based on recent speculation and based on his appearance at a recent PLP module, there's mounting speculation that veteran broadcaster Clint Watson could be eyeing that particular constituency. And that's a point Dinari Rolle raised moments ago as she threw political jabs towards the general manager, Clint Watson. But aside from him, aside from her, there's been other candidates who've been unveiled just moments ago as this event is still underway. So just to do a recap here, again, we have Helen McDonald, who's been ratified as the party's pick for the Engliston constituency. And as we've said, that's been a stronghold area for the governing PLP. And so some political pundits might argue, Shanique, that this could potentially be political suicide for McDonald. But then again, at the end of the day, the party made its decision to ratify this young woman, this young communications professional. And as far as she's concerned, she's going to make a run for the seat. Aside from her, we have Michaela Barnett Ellis, an active senator for the opposition Free National Movement, who's been ratified as the party's pick for the Kalani constituency. She has yet to be revealed here officially, but so far we've already gotten the information. And so again, we've been advised she's been tipped for Kalani. Once again, another constituency that's been a safe seat, a safe haven for the opposition party for decades, for nearly 2 decades, really. It's been held by former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, who is missing in action here tonight. Of course, the opposition party's executive, its leader in particular, Michael Pindar, has made it clear that Dr. Minnis, notwithstanding his representation of the area since 2007, he won't get the party's nod. And so here you have it, Michael Barnett Ellis being ratified as the party's pick for that area. And then again, we have Serpent Roll, the party's pick for Tall Pines, an area currently held and represented by Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville. And I believe at this time, even as we're live, they're about to unveil the candidate. There you have it. Again, for the Freetown constituency, Lincoln Deal. Again, as we're talking, it's happening in real time. And I'm just going to step aside just so you can see what's happening. Again, he has yet to mount the podium. He's going to mount the podium moments after this visual presentation is done. But again, Lincoln Deal is a noted businessman here in New Providence. Of course, when we initially got here, Shanique, there was concerns as to whether Mr. Deal, as far as some residents, some voters in Freetown are concerned, is the right pick. Again, many of them seem to be disgruntled that Mr. Blue Johnson wasn't ratified as the party's pick. When we initially got here, he brought with him a large group of supporters who seem to be sending a strong message, even with the shirts that they're wearing, white shirts compared to the red shirts that most supporters are wearing. They seem to be sending a very strong message, a loud message that they, it appears, are disgruntled with the party's pick. But nonetheless, beyond Mr. Deal, we have, again, as we said, Dinari Rolle. We also have Travis Robinson, a former member of parliament for the Bain and Grand Sound constituency. He's now hoping to make a return, this time in the Fort Charlotte constituency. This is not the first time, Shanique. We've seen former members of parliament under the previous minister administration now making a return, hoping to make a return, I should say, but this time with different constituencies. He already mounted the podium, making his case as to why he believes he should be the next candidate for the Fort Charlotte constituency. Again, that's an area currently represented by a veteran politician and Minister of Immigration and National Insurance, Alfred Sayers, who've already made it clear he's not seeking to be renominated. And then there's also Trevania Clark Hall, who's hoping to be the next member of parliament for the Seabreeze area. The previous member, I should say political hopeful for that area is Senator Maxine Seymour, who recently intimated her decision to pull away from frontline, well, I should say politics, in terms of being a member of parliament. As far as she's concerned, based on that statement she said, she's okay with just being in the Senate and continuing to champion for the opposition in the upper chamber. So again, Shanique, again, we're competing with loud music here. Again, I'm not even sure if you're able to hear me, but a wave of excitement erupting here through Mackey Street as 7 candidates being unveiled. 4 of them women, 3 of them men. Some of them not strangers to politics, others seeking to make their entrance for the first time into politics. It's all happening here through Mackey Street at the FNM headquarters. It's all developing, and we're going to keep you updated as to all that's happening. But before we wrap up, I'm going to take you one more time to the podium where you can see Mr. Deal already up there with a cadre of supporters, some of them from the Freetown constituency. Of course, let's also keep in mind, Shanique, that he was opting to be the candidate for the Kalani constituency. That clearly didn't go his way. And so we're going to get his thoughts on that. How does he feel about that decision? Again, that area is now being represented. Well, I should say, I think Senator Michael Barnett Ellis has been ratified as the party's pick for that area. But again, it's all developing here at the FNM's headquarters. I'm sending it right back to you, Shanique.
Thank you so much, Jose Etienne, live at FNM headquarters. With all that's happening right now, you see the nomination and the rollout is still going on. Just a moment ago, Lincoln Deal officially got the nod for the Freetown constituency. He is up at the podium right now. A few have already been named, and a few others are still to be named coming up this evening. But again, a total of 7 persons being named this evening, added to the 17 initially announced some months ago, to make a total of 24 known candidates to contest in the 2026 general election for the Free National Movement. Well, joining me this evening is the Vice Chairman of the Free National Movement, Dinari Rolle. Good evening to you, Dinari. It's great to have you here. I imagine you perhaps wanted to be exactly where Jose is right now, but thank you for joining me this evening.
It's a pleasure to be here. Good evening, Mama. Thank you for having me here, Shanique. Like you say, I wanted to be in on the excitement, but duty calls, and I'll represent my party when the time comes, and I thank you for allowing me to be here to sit with you and talk about the FNM tonight.
Well, absolutely. We want to talk about these 7 people who got the nod. We know so much been made about the process and those going and sort of making their case in various constituencies. These 7 prevailed and are successful in securing the nod for the Free National Movement. You heard Jose. Jose said, listen, they already came out swinging. The candidate for Southern Shores, Denali Penn, already almost attacking, I imagine, or maybe trying to just put the fear of God in him. Somebody who has expressed interest for the Progressive Liberal Party, Clint Watson. Tell us about the 7 this evening, and especially Dinari Penn. Let's just start with her.
Well, in my view, I would call them, Shanique, the Stellar 7. The Stellar 7 who was ratified tonight.
Yes,
and as you could see, majority of it are females. And so it's good to hear our lioness already roaring, you know, as we believe in women empowerment. I think probably the makeup of the F&M administration, incoming administration, is probably going to be the most women you have ever seen in Parliament. We're going to be intentional about women's rights, dealing with parenting, children, that sorts of stuff. And so we're serious about women empowerment. You know, normally they say politics is a male sport. And so we're happy that a lot of women now are coming forward and accepting the call to offer. I'm excited to see that Dinari Penn Markey come out the gate swinging. It shows that she is ready. She's been working on the ground. She's a community builder by and large. She has an extensive history with her business. And you hear of the success stories in terms of what it was she would have done to people, whether it's offering discounts, whether it's giving free services for less fortunate. That woman is about working. So I'm not surprised to see the approach that she take. And I think she probably might have sent that jail, if I heard Jose correctly, at Clint Watson. So if you're coming, Mr. Watson, be on guard. You have a lioness who is roaring and ready to go.
You've put the challenge out there. Is the Free National Movement, though, I hope they're not too caught up in saying, hey, we want all these women out there to send a message rather than the right women. I say that to say there are quite a number of women. There's one in Seabreeze, and pardon me, I don't know her name. You can perhaps call her name for us.
Yeah.
The one in Seabreeze, and then, of course, others. And then there's Heather McDonald in Angliston. There is Michaela Barnett in Killarney. How do you feel about this sort of move to ensure that women are out front? Are they as prepared also to serve the constituencies that they have been given the official nod for, and also to really bring and make a meaningful difference? That's what people want. They don't want to see somebody showing up just because they're a woman. Can they actually make a difference?
Well, Shanique, I want to let you know, and just let the record reflect that those women pick those seats of interest. So the candidates that we have there, it wasn't like this was a, hey, you go here, you go there, you take this, you take that. You know, often the public like to say this leadership is running some type of dictatorship, or the F&M is under strict rule. But I'll have you know that each of those candidates would have chosen the areas that they represent. And they were up to the challenge. It wasn't forced upon them. They offered, they picked their constituency, and they came out on top. They were the successful choices. And when you look at them, I have belief in them, because I think 4 of them probably might be under the age of 45, vibrant, and have at least 15 plus years already, like I say, in community work. And so whilst you might have in Angliston a political giant in Mrs. Honorable Glennis Hannah Martin, Heather McDonald has taken up the mantle, and she said she's going to go after it, and she wants to make history. And so it isn't like she is scared, she is afraid, she is going to go for the fight, and that's the fight inside of her. Travania Clark Hall Watson, Travania Clark Hall, sorry.
This is
She's
Seabreeze.
a JP, yeah, the
Yes.
JP in Seabreeze.
What has her track record been
Yes.
like? Because I'll tell you, and later in tonight's show, you all listen, don't move, because what me and the panelists are going to do is actually show you the matchups and then discuss them and how they're likely to look. But what has her track record been? You said these ladies are all quite experienced in community service, etc.
Travania Hall, she is a JP, a Justice of the Peace, first of all, and then she's also a licensed farmer. So she is in the agriculture industry, and she believes in manufacturing and then farming. She also does like women empowerment, and she's a part of a extensive global body with the women empowerment and women inclusion rights. And so her work, she's actually a resident of Seabreeze. She's been living there for some 20 plus years now, and she grew up in a political family. I think she's the niece of Woodside, Byron Woodside, the Honorable Byron Woodside. And so she grew up in politics. She started off her work within the primary constituency, and then she started recently working with the Seabreeze Association. You would have heard Senator Maxine Seymour withdraw for personal reasons and not offer herself in frontline politics, and so Travania stepped in. She's going to be assisted by Senator Maxine Seymour, and whatever is needed to get done to go after.
Senator Maxine Seymour is willing to support even though she stepped out?
Definitely. She's still willing to assist the party wholeheartedly. And she still is working with the party, you know. So she just is not running this election cycle. And so she still is willing to assist as the former candidate for the area, still willing to assist Ms. Clark Hall in building a platform and reaching the residents of Seabreeze. And like I say, she's a community advocate. She lives in Seabreeze, so obviously she has relationships with her neighbors and just building and expanding on what it is that she already done, like I say, in the farming industry through her business. And then she's also an HR specialist. So again, I think her work in the community and what she did through her business, being a JP and that sort of stuff, is easily translatable on the ground. And you have to be able to relate to people, and I think that's what she'll be able to do.
And I'm happy you mentioned that,
Politics
because
is about people.
it's about people and relating to people, relationships, all right? I wanna ask you about this, and I go back to this because it was men, a handful of men in Seabreeze, well before you all even intended to have tonight happen, talked about the fact that they were turned off by Maxine Seymour because of her strong, as you say, women inclusion, women empowerment message that has been coming strong from the Senate. Not that they're opposed to women or women being protected and the rest of it, but it just seemed very almost agenda driven. Exactly. And so how careful is the FNM not to teeter, or even the PLB? I mean, I wouldn't want to see any party go too strong in any which direction, particularly when you push on that women's right. Women, we got rights, you understand? And do we need further protection? Fine, that's good. Make those things happen. But just to have the right people around the table. And so when you hear something like that, how are you careful to have the Seabreeze candidate just bring about more balance when she goes there? Because the men have been speaking and have already been complaining against Seymour.
Yeah, well, what I'd say to that, Shanique, is though, like, the reality is politics has been a made sport. Men have ego, we have ego. And so the reality of it is, like you said, it has to be a balanced approach. Although the residents of Seabreeze may have suggested that, women inclusion might have been forced upon them as, like they said, probably by Senator Maxine Seymour, though, when you look at her message, how is it actually translated to actual real time in terms of women dominance or women empowerment? Is her message of women empowerment only because she wants the women empowerment? Is it being heard? Is enough awareness being brought? Does women have enough of a voice? And so it's only a thing of having the necessary conversations and taking the gentleman along the lines just to understand, because again, it's not that you're trying to move the man aside, but I think through conversation and just hearing her out to get they hearing Ms. Hall out about what the message is and bringing about that balance and the approach that we need to leadership, because sometimes us men, I could go on record and say we let our ego get in the way, but that's not always good for politics. It's not always good for
a woman
people.
has her role in the space, but you don't need to soften it up. I mean, this nation needs a firm hand moving forward in so many areas. We know that. Let's move along and talk about the gentleman we saw on the stage just before Jose wrapped up that live drop a moment ago. Lincoln Deal.
Yes.
Lincoln Deal is, I tell you, he I don't know who is most noted because we can get to Travis Robinson in a moment, but Lincoln Deal, officially now the candidate for Freetown.
Yes.
Now, you saw what's happened this evening as well. On this show, I think it was Tuesday evening, I had Andrew Blue Johnson here, and he said, listen, he's showing up there because he is going after the nomination. But this evening, the Free National Movement made its position very clear, didn't stutter, and said Lincoln Deal is our man, and he will be getting this nomination this evening. Is the FNM at all minded to somehow try and reach out to a Blue Johnson with the hopes of not having him become a distraction, as you all obviously would want Lincoln to go and be successful in that race?
So what I would say is it's a process in terms of how you become a candidate. You apply. You put in an application, you would have had to go through a training, and then you would have to go through a vetting committee or whatever. What I'd say is Mr. Blue did not go through that entire process. However, despite that fact, when you apply for application, you just vet the candidate, right? We saw some things in terms of history, like he would have, I understood, went on record and said he has a track record or history that probably he might be not proud of, but it made him the man he is today, and that's good that he is progressing. And so based off what we saw, they didn't see the need to further engage based off his track record. However, we still would have reached out to him, the party would have reached out to him, spoken to him in regards to just his approach in this position, to tell him that, that our choice is Mr. Lincoln Deal, and we are moving forward. So if you wish to come out and have a peaceful demonstration, we respect that, but just know that the FNM is going with Mr. Lincoln Deal.
Also, he was given a notice ahead of time.
Yes, we spoke to him, and like I say, because at the end of the day, everybody have a right to free speech, and talk to us. And so again, everybody, the leadership is heavy-handed, the dictatorship and the likes. It's always mentioned. I'm just here to set the record fair. That's far from reality. As much as they portray it out there, communication always has happened, and most of these issues come from the fact that leadership in my view, is over-communicating. They're talking so much, but sometimes it's to no result. And at one point in time, you just have to make a firm decision, stand by it, because, again, ultimately, that's what you say. Leadership has to put its foot down and stick to its mandate.
Yes, I have a response. I'll tell you this. I have to get your response to this. Let me just read an excerpt from this. You imagine the Progressive Liberal Party watched very closely this evening's rollout. Already. So let me just read this. Of course, this, I know, right? Of course, this is your interview, the Free National Movement space, but hey, it's the political season.
That's fine.
So here is it. The latest announcement of additional candidates by Michael Pintard only confirms what Bahamians already know. Michael Pintard cannot build a team that is ready for prime time because he himself is not ready for prime time. Instead of welcoming fresh ideas and independent thinkers, Mr. Pintard continues to surround himself with yes men who simply echo the views of those pulling his strings. That is not leadership, that is weakness. How do you respond to that?
6 of the 7 candidates are new and fresh to the political scene, who have a life of public service in front of them and behind them, and we'll go on record and share their plan, as I'm sure. And so when the PLP talks about rhetoric, we could just compare the reality, who is new from who is not, who has been there before and who wasn't. And again, people works are going to speak for them. The Bahamian people don't want a condescending government who think they have arrived. I want to remind them they won the election on the lowest voting turnout in the history of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And based off my view, their performance now, in my view, probably cost them lose support. So be very careful with that approach. Be very careful with your condescending, because most of those people are new to the political arena.
I thank you very much, Dinari Rolle. Awesome speaking with you this evening, and I look forward to doing this again.
Pleasure,
hearing,
hope to be back.
Yeah, hearing your thoughts. My pleasure. Hearing your thoughts and all that on the what you call them, the what 7?
Stella 7.
The Stella 7.
Stella 7. I love it.
My gosh, I tell
Stella
you,
7.
that alliteration, I tell you, is I don't know. I'll see how it catches. But thank you for being here this evening.
It's a pleasure.
You're welcome. Listen, when we come back, the Hot Topics panel is here, and they are ready to jump in and give their opinions on what took place this evening and all the people who have been officially rolled out. Of course, that's still happening there, but we already have the information ahead of time. So we will love to get into this and share our thoughts, hear your views on the Stellar 7, as Denario called them. We're back in a moment.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
Comfort Suites Paradise Island is the best-kept secret in the Bahamas. Located directly next door to the Atlantis Resort, you'll receive all the privileges of an Atlantis guest with all the benefits of a Comfort Suite stay. Enjoy everything Atlantis has to offer, including Aquaventure Water Park, plus all the amenities of Comfort Suites. Free Wi-Fi, free breakfast daily, and kids stay, play, and eat free. Visit ComfortSuitesPI.com.
Carrie's Fabric and Uniform Store wants to get you ready for back to school.
They have ready-made uniforms and uniform fabrics for almost every school in the Bahamas.
At Carrie's, find skirts, blouses, shirts, jumpers, boy shorts and long pants, neckties, socks, and more.
You can even have your uniform skirts custom made.
Check out our selection of embroidered cotton shirts.
That's Carrie's Fabric and Uniform Store on Mackey Street.
Call us at 393-0758 or 817-0758.
You work hard to provide for and protect the ones you love. However, life can present unexpected challenges. Who you call in times of need matters. Insurance Management is a Bahamian-owned company that has been serving our community for over 40 years, offering a wide range of coverage for all of your personal, professional, and commercial needs. When life happens, rest easy knowing that our skilled and experienced agents are there for you in your time of need, so that you can get back to what matters most. Insurance management. Nobody does it better.
This year marks a milestone. The OWN Foundation is celebrating 10 years of impact, innovation, and inspiration. Join us for OWN Talks, September 12th at the Atlantis Resort, Paradise Island at 7 p.m. for a transformative experience under the theme, Activate. Taking the stage are world-renowned leaders and visionaries. Sebastian Bastien, visionary entrepreneur, philanthropist, and CEO of Island Luck and Weiss Technology Group. Barbara Corcoran, legendary real estate mogul, entrepreneur, investor, and star of Shark Tank. Vusi Tembekwayo, global business strategist, venture capitalist, and one of Africa's most influential thought leaders. Be part of this unforgettable evening as the OWN Foundation celebrates a decade of purpose and progress. And together, we activate the future.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you tuned in this evening. The Hot Topics panelists are here, and they are really, first of all, they've been paying attention to the drop, of course, with Denario and I speaking here, and now they are ready to weigh in on the 7 who were ratified this evening. Of course, if you missed it, the ratifications took place for Angleton, Killarney, Tall Pines, Freetown, Southern Shores, Seabreeze, and Fort Charlotte. That happened this evening. In fact, it's still unfolding at F&M headquarters at this moment. And so welcome in to Beyond the Headlines, and good evening, Peggy Candace and Michael Turnquest. Good evening to both of you.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Good evening, Bahamas, and good evening, Shanique. Pleasure to be back.
It's good to have you both. Listen, the Free National Movement, I guess, grabbing the attention this evening. And of course, that attention is on the fact that they have added 7 people to the initial 17 that were ratified some time back. Where do we even begin? Where do we jump in? We could perhaps talk about Blue. And I did ask the vice chairman of the Free National Movement, Dinari Rolle. I said, listen, Blue can be a distraction, because obviously he has some level of support in the fact that he had people walk into F&M headquarters with him. Is there a plan maybe to reach out so that you can not have that fraction there in Freetown? Your thoughts on how this all played out? Did the F&M pull a trump card in that they went right ahead, regardless of anything he had planned, and ratified Lincoln deal? Or should they have waited for a moment and to try and mend those fences and move forward?
You know, Shanique, I think people need to understand, it's the game of politics. I've been down this road before, 2007, under the F&M banner, and you don't own, nobody owns the party. You're under an organization. At the end of the day, they have the last say. Nobody can say, I can say I want to go to Killarney as well. That doesn't mean I'm going to be the selected person to go to that particular constituency. What I think people get, after you start going and you start meeting people, you start knocking on doors, you start to feel that connection with the community. You tend to, I tell people, it's like you get bite with that political bug, and you want to be that candidate, and you are willing to go to, do extreme things in order to show that, hey, I'm here for the long haul. At the end of the day, the party went with their selection, which is Lincoln deal. And, I think this is where, and all parties go through it, because at the end of the day, there's going to be, the PLP will eventually go have some constituencies where persons who vying for positions, even current sitting members who might not be reelected or be selected to, run in certain areas. So at the end of the day, I think now it's time for these 7 constituencies, whereas those healing processes to go through, which every party goes through. It's always better it happens earlier rather than later, closer to the election, because then it becomes a true distraction. The party still has time to, speak to individuals and start actually trying to garner the support of whether it be of blue supporters or, get him back on course in terms of, or, at the end of the day, he also has a mind of his own. He has a choice that he might want to go and do something else. But it's all choices. We all have choices, and at the end of the day, I always tell people in politics, I don't consider people being F&M or PLP, because at the end of the day, every party needs those F&Ms that didn't vote for them the last time, or those PLPs to come over and join her. If you want to win an election, it's a numbers game.
You need them all.
You need them all.
And that was the basis for my question, Peggy. The fact that, listen, the F&M in Freetown needs them all. And so Blue obviously has some level of support. He proved that tonight. And so, the F&M would need to make amends with him, I feel.
Shanique, according to Mr. Rolle, who was just there, the F&M reached out to Mr. Blue and informed him that Lincoln Deal would be their choice for Freetown. And so the drama of it is what we saw tonight. I also read on Mr. Blue's page that he will consider whether or not he run as an independent candidate, which will make it so much more interesting in Freetown, because you will have four candidates, and with that number, I think the leading, the current administration will stand a better chance of victory in Freetown. And so it is all interesting. But I said the drama was just what it is. Every time there's drama.
Yes,
I think a lot of people don't realize at the end of the day, if you're part of a team, a baseball team, whatever it might be, at the end of the day, the coach makes the decision whether to say, hey, I need you to come off of first base because I feel as though so and so would be stronger on first base. At the end of the day, you have to be a part of a team, and you have to understand, hey, this is what the decision is. This might help us along the way. It might hurt us, but at the end of the day, everybody learns from their lessons. When I went in 2007, when I vied for the F&M candidacy in Marathon, I went around door to door getting signatures and this, that, the next, but I was still not the selected individual. So I know exactly what persons are going through. I ended up running in Kennedy in 2007 election under the F&M banner. So, I know the way politics works. I know the way, at the end of the day, decisions are made, and decisions are made for a reason. And I think that time, Earl DeVoe had ran in Marathon.
Let's look at Dinari Mackey. She came out with on all cylinders, just blazing. She went after, though. Well, let's talk about what her strategy was this evening. In her opening remarks, she went directly after somebody who has expressed an interest for the Progressive Liberal Party in Southern Shores, and that's Clint Watson. We all know we've been talking about him for the last, 48 hours or 24 hours now, just over. And so, what do you thought? Would you all, Peggy and Michael, would you all thought about Dinari choosing to do that, and was that the wisest thing to do?
I don't know if she has information that I might not have, or she sees the writing on the wall. But at the end of the day, my view in terms of, especially when you're I consider a competition. To me, the person on the side of me, or who I'm going against, who I might be going against, to me, I don't mention them at all. I don't want to. They're non-existent. Yes. It's about me. It's about me and the constituency. At the end of the day, I think the MP is Leroy Major at the moment. We don't know what the PLP is going to do with him, but at the end of the day, I think she needs to keep the focus on her and what she's going to be doing in the constituency for the people of Southern Shores.
Southern Shores.
Yeah.
The strength of Dinari Penn candidacy would have been the current Member of Parliament, Mr. Leroy. However, Clint Watson will put a different spin on that. Southern Shores appear to be almost a sure win for the F&M if Mr. Leroy would have run off himself again in the PLP running. But they're making Clint Watson a fifth factor for the F&M. The amount of tension that they're giving to him, campaigning against somebody who just expressed interest
so what are you saying?
You can be a threat.
You're saying the news release yesterday and her jumping out the gate this evening is an indication of what?
You are targeting somebody who just expressed interest. So what is your concern? Does he decrease your opportunity? That's the question I'm asking.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't. The person
of him?
Generally, she's a very fiery individual.
Yes,
She's very aggressive in everything that she does. So I don't. I expect it from her, but at the end of the day, I don't think she is fearful of anyone or anything. Anything that she takes on, she grabs the bull by the two horns, and she goes into the fight.
But make sure it's the right bull. Yeah. You ensure a Clint Watson being the candidate.
What if he is? How would that matchup look?
It would be very interesting. I think it will not be a pathway of an easy pathway for Miss Penn Mackey. She is a charismatic person. She's also somebody who is gonna spend in our area. And so she needs somebody who's going to match her not only in charisma, but in finances. And if you are looking at that possibility, she needs somebody who's going to be a strong contender. And obviously, she feels, according to our expression tonight, a reported expression tonight, she feels that Clint Watson, he's known. He is known. I mean, Clint Watson sat at this desk, and he had a following. What do you call them? The Cubs. Clint Watson is charismatic based on his spiritual interaction, known for being a great singer and working with young people, building choirs. And so Clint Watson is not a stranger to the Bahamas. And I think all of those factors definitely match Dinari Penn's Mackey being known, being charismatic. I'm sorry, being charismatic, and like I say, she gonna spend on our campaign.
I think it's a good matchup. At the end of the day,
it does appear to be one of those interesting ones to watch if it happens. Yes.
Right, and at the end, it's going to boil down to the ground game. Who has the best ground game? Who can get to every house, find every individual that's on that voter registry, and ensure that they belong there first of all. But at the end of the day, also be able to touch them, speak to them, find out what their concerns are, and how they can assist and what they bring to the constituency. That particular matchup is going to be, I call it the groundhog, the groundhog game in terms of
it's so awesome. We didn't expect that. Yeah. So these are some interesting races that are just sort of manifesting right there. The Southern Shores, we certainly will keep an eye on that, right?
Definitely.
Before Chance gives me the indication to wrap on this segment, I need to go here. You all know exactly where it is. You all just take a guess, Killarney. Let's look at Michaela Barnett Ellis, who she is, what she's brought. What are you hearing about her in Killarney?
From what I've gathered, I mean, I've heard, she's been on the ground. People have been gravitating towards her. I think that's going to be, and it goes back. You have, I always tell people, you have FNMs and you have PLPs. At the end of the day, that's what the country, how we vote. People say, okay, what about the Dr. Minnis factor? Yeah, you have people that love Dr. Minnis, but at the end of the day, people are going to wonder, at the end of the day, who is going to run the country? Whether is this going to be Dr. Minnis? Yeah, okay, he's going to run the constituency. But a lot of people vote for their party. It's going to be a lot of individuals. He might take some of the votes. Is it enough to actually, allow the PLP to win? I don't know. The numbers will tell at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, it goes back to the ground game, and those that sit in people's homes and touch their hearts, and their minds and everything, and get them to say, hey, something, I'm going with you.
And that person that he just described just happens to be Dr. Minnis. It is my position. If 4 persons are running, 4 candidates in Killarney, it also increases the chance for PLP being victorious in Killarney. If we look at it, Dr. Minnis has been a great member of parliament for Killarney, and so he has earned the people respect and trust. And I have family members who we came
and
out
it's
of
happened in the FNM before. Tennyson Wells done it in Bamboo We've seen it happen numerous times, and I think he might have done it twice.
But Pierre DePuche as well.
Yes,
and many number of people. Hubert Ingram, right?
I mean, and all of these were senior politicians who went and and ran independent.
Right.
And of course,
it's the fact is he also benefits because largely his constituency, they are not looking to him with this, and so he is showing up for those who
And
desperately need him as an MP, and for the others, he's been there to help push whatever they need to happen forward.
Yeah. You can say whatever you please about Dr. Minnis when it comes to leading the country, leading the Free National Movement, but when it comes to being the member of Parliament, the representative of Kalani, there's few who can compare to his representation, to his involvement in that constituency. When it comes to the children, when it comes to adults, Dr. Minnis have a
when it comes to the safety I can't forget, because in this show we've talked about it a lot. We've talked about stuff he's done a lot.
Right.
I remember one time we talked about him putting Ring doorbells.
Yeah.
Security cameras, CCTV cameras throughout Kalani, especially in the more crime-ridden areas, to ensure safety and security and an overall sense of well-being.
He's really greatly appreciated.
He has come up with a lot of innovative community ideas that throughout the community has helped Kalani, and people have appreciated. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to the Senator Michael O'Barnett to she's going to have to do not one round, she's going to have to do 2, 3, 4 rounds in the Kalani constituency, touching people to get them to believe that she is a better representative than the current.
And a PR. Listen, Dr. Minnis' PR is ahead of everybody.
Listen to me.
That's stellar. If you're going to use Stella.
He's his own PR.
He is his own PR. I'm waiting for him to doggone test some, I don't know what next. What we need him to test?
I don't know. We have to wait and see, because he's been running an excellent PR campaign. And so her challenge starts with PR.
Absolutely.
Her challenge starts with competing with Dr. Minnis.
She can have to move her hands. And she got
to step it up, because politics now also is about optics and persuasion.
When Dr. Minnis first got it, it was a whole, I think, a crew of people to try and get him to be more personable and bring out his personality to get him, because at the end of the day,
sometimes it takes time.
Yeah, and it does take time. It's trust me, going out in front of hundreds and hundreds of people is not an easy thing, and also touching them one by one.
I think the FNM taught Dr. Minnis to fight back.
But he's learned to fight.
He's definitely fought.
He's learned that.
And still fighting.
And still fighting. Very, very quickly. Travis Robinson and someone who is reportedly interested in Fort Charlotte as well for the Progressive Liberal Party, Sebas Bastian.
Travis Robinson, in my view, have the strongest ground gains in the entire Free National Movement. He have a strong team on the ground, a lot of young people. He always attract young people to his campaign from Grand and Bainstown. The challenge with Travis Robinson, he would have been wonderful, almost easy breezy if he was going up against the current MP.
That's going to be another one to watch. At the end of the day, I think knowing the two individuals and the one that possibility also is a very person that loves the ground and hits
and change Sebas. I want to call his name. Sebas changed the game in Fort Charlotte. The advantage of Sebas in Fort Charlotte is that Fort Charlotte will have a member of parliament who is capable of taking care of the constituency without the government help. And I think that will be the appealing factor for Fort Charlotte. And so Fort Charlotte has turned in. And when we look at Clint Watson, Sebas, we see the immediate pushback from the FNM. So something special in those two guys.
We're going to pick this up of tomorrow's show and next week and continue to talk about it, because after all, we are in the political season, right? But really interesting races that are developing and continue to develop. When we come back, we're going to shift gears. We're going to talk about how Eleuthera continues just to, be amazing in its economy, its tourism industry, and investments, and so much more. We're back after this.
Are our top priorities. However, our meter readers face challenges that can make their job difficult. Locked gates to guard dogs sometimes leads to missed readings and estimated bills, which can be frustrating for you and us. That's why we're upgrading to digital meters. They bring safety, accuracy, and convenience to homes across the Bahamas. We can streamline data collection, reduce on-site visits, and provide more accurate bills with no more estimates. Digital meters also help detect leaks early, saving you from costly bills and reducing water waste. Soon, a user-friendly app will let you track your water usage, manage bills, and stay informed, all at your fingertips. Over the next year, we're rolling out digital meters nationwide, transforming how we serve you with a safer and cost-efficient water supply. To learn about our digital meters, visit our website or call us today. And don't forget to update your information at any of our locations.
Edenwell has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madera Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs, with fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff. Let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay Eden well.
So my name is Dr. Sophia Rolle. I'm the resident artist for the Via Hamea Art House and Gallery. This is not something that I've gone to school for, if you will. I'm a professor. I recently got into art in 2015 because it was something that I always wanted to do. I saw something about fluid art, the abstract expressionism of fluid art really drew me. And so I'm always thinking now about art. I see the world through art. So that is, for me, very, very gratifying, very, very satisfying. So receiving the Women's Initiative grant really impacted the business because it allowed me to see in that I could have taken my craft, my art, outside of the gallery walls and really maximizing on some of the training, some of the skills that we learned. The advice that I would give to not only women, but anyone who's interested in starting a small business or starting a business is to just get started. You have to take the first step. And if you take the first step, you'd be amazed at how far you can continue to walk in that space.
For more information about how the SBDC can help your small business to make a big impact, give us a call at 461-7232 or visit sbdcbahamas.com.
Tired of driving around from place to place just to get your car insured and licensed? Frustrated with the process of being back and forth from your insurance company to road traffic? Well, BMG Insurance Agents and Brokers just made insuring and licensing your motor vehicle as easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1. Visit us at the Road Traffic Department, Section 1, Thomas A. Robinson Sports Stadium. At our office, you can purchase or renew your insurance or get your vehicle inspected. We at BMG Insurance Agents and Brokers represent major carriers. Step 2. See the professionals at Road Traffic to get your vehicle licensed. Step 3. Enjoy your day. Insure with BMG Insurance Agents and Brokers today, saving you time and money. Your one-stop shop for all of your insurance needs. Great rates, convenient, excellent service. For more information, call us at 322-2221.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you continue to join us. Just before we wrap up, I want to share this story with you. Eleuthera is seeing record visitor arrivals. Aviation officials say the island has seen a marked improvement in numbers, and we know it's been happening. It's almost 10 years now that this boom has just been continuing, and investments and second home ownership and just so many things happening. And while there are challenges that remain, like the utilities that are dragging slowly behind, trying to catch up and keep pace, they believe the island is on a major upswing. We get the story from Devontae Hanna.
Actually, this is the best Eleuthera has ever performed.
And the numbers do not lie, Deputy Director General and Aviation Director Dr. Kenneth Romer asserts.
Eleuthera is actually exceeding 2019 figures by some 37%.
It comes with a 7% increase in foreign air arrivals compared to last year. Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper believes the increase in arrivals show Eleuthera is on a massive upswing and becoming a destination of choice.
Eleuthera has an authenticity and a vibe that tourists love and they come for. I anticipate that the buzz for Eleuthera is going to continue and the growth is going to be sustained.
And even with the Silver Airways market exit, Cooper says Bahamas Air has been working to fill the void. Adding to that, Aztec Airways direct flights from Fort Lauderdale to North Eleuthera.
at the end of the day, the islands need service, and we're here to provide it.
While mounting concerns linger around the island's unreliable utilities becoming a detractor for guests and an issue for businesses, Cooper is confident those issues will be handled in due course.
The heavy lifting is being done with airports and roads and the hospital, etc. This is simply fantastic for the island of Eleuthera to build capacity and a foundation on which the growth can continue.
Listen, let's get back, come back out live here. Really awesome. And as I want to give you both an opportunity to speak, because we were talking during that story about just Eleuthera's boom and the fact that, you know, the only distraction from what's happening is keeping pace. The utility is keeping pace with what's happening. It's nothing new. It's been happening for decades under so many, whether it's water and sewerage or BPL, leadership teams there. And just trying to patch and fix. And now that this energy reform is happening, we are just hoping it happens, because based on what's even in the pipeline, not more than that is expected for the island of Eleuthera. Your thoughts, Peggy and Michael, about just what looks so amazing for the economy there?
I'm a happy Eleutheran tonight. I've been following the team, the Deputy Prime Minister and the Director of Aviation majority of the day, because they've been throughout the island of Eleuthera. They've been south and central, they've been to Governor Saba Airport, and also the clearing of the ground for the extension of the North Eleuthera Airport. And so we are very appreciative of what the attention that this administration is putting on Eleuthera. Of course, you mentioned the utilities, and one of the challenges that is created by this exceptional boom in Eleuthera is that the great BPL is incapable right now, until upgraded, until the new solar system plan and all of the plans that BPL have for upgrades in the island of Eleuthera. The system can't keep up with the boom, and even though it is a negative, it's also a glorious thing that Eleuthera is just accelerating with investments and now the airport's improvements. The Governor's Saba Airport is reportedly going to be completed by December of this year. And so things are happening, great things are happening, and I'm so pleased to know this.
You know, I'm happy for any island. I'm happy for Eleuthera to see that, you know, the increase in tourism, the tourism product has continued to sell, and, you know, the gross domestic is rising. But at the end of the day, I always say, you know, I think, and I hope this will be a learning lesson, because the statistics and data is always there that shows that, you know, this is, Eleuthera hasn't just started this ramp up in terms of this boom that's been going on. This one's going on now for decades. I think all, not to say decades, but for almost a decade plus, yes. That all administrations would learn from data that when they see this type of
let's
uptick,
try, jump ahead of
this.
this.
Let's try get ahead and stop always trying to play catch up, and especially our family islands. We've been too Nassau-centric for too long. Yes. A lot of people have become tired. A lot tired of the Nassau tourism product because it's become too commercial. You know, now people want to go and see our family islands. They want to go do the Exumas. They want to do the Keys. They want to do Eleuthera. They want to do, you know, Cat Island, whatever. You know, these small islands. They want to now get to the authenticity of what the Bahamas really have to offer. Mm-hmm. And that's why you're seeing, you know, and a lot of the islands are seeing an uptick in terms of people trying to get there.
People want that indigenous, organic experience.
Yeah. But we have to get ahead in terms of the infrastructure when we see these type of upticks on certain islands or keys where people are trying to get to but they can't, or they're getting there. You know, we have issues with water, we have issues with electricity, issues with whatever it might be, or the transportation, things of that sort. So, you know, I hope this is a learning lesson, and we try to get ahead on other islands and give people, you know, the infrastructure that people will really allow a bigger influx to come in.
You know, Shanique, this administration is trying to catch up, and like you say, hopefully keep ahead of it. If you listen at Cat Island, there was an announcement made by BPL that Cat Island will no longer be load shedding because the generation has been put into place already.
Oh, that's good news.
And so each island is getting individual attention of improvement when it comes to the electrical service, and it will take time, but it's been a legacy problem for those corporations and for those islands, and so keeping up catching up is what is happening.
And staying ahead.
Yes.
Listen, as we wrap up this evening, I want to ask each of you which candidate this evening that was ratified by the Free National Movement looks most interesting to you, or that you'll be watching to see how that race sort of plays out.
I think the Southern Shores.
Yeah.
I think Southern Shores definitely will be the one to watch. I guess, you know, Freetown will be interesting. You have a young, vibrant, you know, person who is, you know, new to frontline politics. You know, it'll be, you know, interesting to see what he brings to the table in terms of whether it be from, you know, a social media perspective, policies, community things of that sort. We know him to be a businessman, and he has done a lot of great things inside the business community, and be very interesting to see what he brings to the Freetown constituency.
Freetown, Southern Shores, Kalani. I at this time I'm not able to do matchup. There's only 2 of them that's capable of doing matchup with, but it will be interesting. Everything is determined by whom the PLP send as a candidate that can affect what is going to take place, especially with the ground campaign. And so those constituencies, just for the dynamics, the changes, how would Lincoln Deal fit in with a Freetown? Can he or the people relate to him as a leader? And so I think it's going to be very interesting to run. We spoke about Dr. Minnis, his campaign, his relationship, established relationship with his constituency. And then once everything is confirmed, how does the senator match up in that area? And then again, there's Southern Shores. Whom the PLP sent to Southern Shores
It's going to be key, huh?
is key. And so it is very interesting to watch. McDonald and it's just Gladys Anna is like, keep the oxygen tank on hand to resuscitate this young lady. But I guess somebody put on my page, she will be taking one for the team, indeed.
I thank you very much, of course, to both of you at the top of tonight's show. A special thanks to FNM Vice Chairman Dinari Rolle. Thank you very much for joining me here on the show in studio. And of course, my Hot Topics panelists, Peggy Scott and also Michael Turnquest. I thank you both as well. And I want to say a big thank you. It got me all over the place.
You forget me.
All over. Call her name. You have no idea. I want to thank all of you for tuning in this evening. It's certainly been awesome having you along, and I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller, making a great evening, everyone.